Welcome to Egg Shorts. I'm Ken. With me is my father, Brandon. In the next 5 minutes, we're going to talk about why we do not show cattle. We have cattle, but we don't show them, so to speak.
Well, that's a good question. I mean, you guys were never involved in 4-H or FFA, which there's some good valuable
Nope.
stuff there. But the problem is, and depending on where you're at, is that I couldn't show cattle well enough for you to win. I mean, there's a lot of times that the parents are paying for it. There's a lot of kids that are putting in a lot of really hard work and not necessarily getting rewarded for it. There's some, what shall we call it, local corruption in some of those organizations. Not all, but some. We just never had time. Part of that was you guys both were multi sport athletes,
Yeah.
as long and keeping your grades up. And I believe you had a mission on trying to get into West Point, which ultimately you got accepted, but it's a whole different story why you couldn't make it medically because of sports. Anyway, so we just never had a chance to do that, and it's busy. It's busy on a ranch sometimes, and which is a good thing for some of the kids that are in a spot where they're not really in agriculture, but they're on the fringe edges of it, and so they're not running a good sized ranch. They're not busy all the time, and that's an excellent way for someone to get some education and, like I said, some valuable lessons out of the older kids out of FFA, younger kids in 4-H. But when you're busy actually doing the kind of work that we
Yeah.
do, then that's kind of where you're rewarded. And you guys would train horses and do stuff for cash, where a lot of these kids are raising an animal for their cash for college later on. And so it's just a different way to do it, but never had the time, never had the ability to, do those projects like that and stick with them with any consistency with everything else that was a priority. So that has to be kind of a priority when you're doing it right.
And when I thought about this question as I was setting it up to ask it, I think too, like we're very much in black cattle country. And so I don't know if I've ever really seen any red Angus in shows. Normally when we'd see shows is in the fair at the end of the
Right.
summer in the August timeframe. And I just don't recall seeing a whole lot of red cattle. There might have been a
Yeah.
Hereford here and there, but I'm not sure. For us, it would have been a red cow.
Yeah.
Frankly, just would have been a red cow, and I don't know. I don't know how well we would have done anyway had we gone into that bucket of
Well,
diverse,
actually,
like non-diversity of a show period.
yeah. No, there's been some, we'd walk through those show barns and, take a day and go to the fair and eat bad food and watch you guys do the rides and go through the barns. But there were some red cattle, but yeah, that's predominantly black. But there's a lot of other, there's some dairy cattle in there. There's some uh, exotic breeds, not real exotic, but like Charolais and things like that. But by and large, they're blacks. And I don't know that I've seen any on the judging end of that necessarily um, anything other than them really judging what they're supposed to be judging on. I don't know that because I'm not intimately,
Right.
part of it, but I've seen some really good animals when they judged that they were, the grand prize or the top dog of the fair. Has they've been some really good animals, and those that are second, or you look at them and you go, okay, they look really close. So I don't think that's probably too out of line. I'm sure there's somebody who favors a certain look. I mean,
Right.
everybody does. That's the whole thing about any kind of a show animal. Uh, the judge is going to have a certain inherent bias that they like over something else, and that's going to show.
Yeah, and I think the important thing out of all of this though is the amount of time, effort, and energy kids put into showing those animals.
A
Like, man,
lot.
it's crazy.
Never underestimate how much work goes into those animals, because they really do. And there's a lot of money mom and dad are forking out to
Yeah.
to
Support.
supply some feed and stuff to them too.
Yeah. All right. That's why we don't show animals or why we haven't shown animals. But we still got plenty of cattle, so call us up. We can might be able to sell you some steaks here and there.